Welcome, affiliated listeners, to a very special, but soon to be a regular podcast, where I am joined with my co-host, Thomas McMahon. How are you doing today, Thomas?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Well, and today, it is just Thomas and I, and we're going to be calling these segments Pillow Talk
Yay.
with Thomas and Kyle. Woo!
Which for our audio listeners is not going to make any sense.
We are holding pillows, for those that don't know.
ClickBank pillows.
ClickBank pillows.
Do you remember TNC from like ages ago when people stole these pillows from our private room? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Not our
this.
private room, you and I, but ClickBank's private room. Yeah.
They stole from my private room, too.
Yeah.
It's
Different
concerning
people.
because they weren't even ClickBank pillows, just all my pillows. I do remember that because they're so cool, but they're rare now. I think we only have like 4 or 5 of these left in existence. So if you stole a ClickBank pillow, just know we want it back. We're going to come for you. No, just kidding. We won't. But it's a collector's item.
Send a picture if you got one. Tag us on Instagram. Yeah.
Well, on that, we are not going to be talking about ClickBank pillows, just holding them in a comforting way. But with Pillow Talk, what we're going to describe this as is really a time that we talk about subjects that are very ClickBank specific, but it's not a guest. It's just you and I talking marketing and important things. And today, we're going to talk about a common question we get, which is how or what makes a top offer a top offer? Besides its position in the marketplace, what are the numbers? What are the things? What's the secret sauce to making me a top offer? Has anyone ever asked that to you before, Thomas?
Just a few hundred times.
Just a few hundred times, yes.
Yeah.
So it's a very common one. And the great thing is I think there's the answer that people think they want and the answer that we're also going to give. But we're going to give both. And I think the answer that people think they want is they just want to know the numbers. What are the numbers?
Give me the stats.
The metrics that make a top offer. And we'll kind of break into what that looks like and what that means. It's always changing. I will say that.
Well, plus a lot too, right? People ask like, hey, I want top affiliates to promote my offer, right? And so you have to almost flip it on them. Okay, cool. What are your stats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have an offer they want to promote.
What's your conversion rate?
Yeah. So, and then we'll go into, I think, the part that you and I want to spend more time, which is talking about what does a business need to do to make a top offer last and go from a top offer to a top client? Because those are two different things. So we will share that and we'll talk about it. But first, let's go into it and talk about the stats. What are the stats that make up a top offer? And so I think one thing when I think about this too, for myself, as I answer the own question that I asked. But,
I asked myself.
Yes.
Self.
What is the answer to this question? Let me serve it up. Anyway, it is like all times that when I mentioned these numbers are moving, but I think the way to look at this is less about a hard line benchmark and more about how close in the way kind of the numbers work when you're climbing up in the top offers. So with that, how do you answer that question? When you think of the numbers that make up a top offer, what stands out to you? What are the things that pop into your head?
Well, my understanding of this has really changed in my tenure at ClickBank. I used to think for like the first half of my time here, first 4 years, let's say, it's like, oh, conversions are king, right? That's the bare metric. Like that's what you should focus on. Like you need at least a 2%, 3%, 4% conversion rate, whatever it might be. And if you have a high enough conversion rate, you'll win. I think that used to be the case when commission rates were lower, right? And you saw commission rates in like the 30 to 40% ranges, 50% ranges kind of thing was like high. And now that's a low commission rate. So it's less about commissions to me. And I look at the total. It's like, okay, what's the conversion rate? Is it good enough? Is it on par? What's the average order value? Is it good enough? Is it on par? What do you pay an affiliate from that average order value? Is it good enough, low enough, or too low, whatever that might be? And what that really boils down to is average order value times conversion rate equals kind of the gross EPC, right? The earning per click. But to an affiliate, it'd be like the commission piece, it'd be conversion rate times affiliate earnings would be like the affiliate's EPC, if you will. Yeah. And that to me is the most important thing.
Yeah. No, I love that you put that because I would describe it as a top offer is an efficient offer. It's an offer that has all the right metrics working cohesively to create a great campaign for your affiliate, whether that's through email, whether that's through social, whether it's through, organic, doesn't matter. The idea is they've worked out the efficiency. It's not loaded in one way too much of the other. Yeah. And I think that's important when you think about these metrics.
So if you send traffic to it with a good enough targeting, a good enough ad or swipe, it should convert the right amount of people to get the affiliate paid what they're expecting.
Yeah. So they could get positive ROAS and whatever mark or way that they measure that, right? But that is a little bit of a game of moving water from one bucket to another oftentimes, or it can be. Not in a bad way. It's just, it could allow you to
explain that a little bit, like which part the...
Yeah. So a good way to think about it, we mentioned kind of benchmarks. Let's use some benchmarks for like supplement offers.
Sure.
Ideally, you want to be a top offer in the supplement game. Well, you better be able to convert to cold traffic over 1%. We know that your average order value needs to be probably between over $230, and your average payouts need to probably be between 120 to at least 150, somewhere at 150 for your affiliates, right?
Yeah.
You might be sitting here thinking, there's no way I'm going to achieve all of those numbers at once. Maybe 2 of 3, maybe 1 of 3. You're not quite sure, right? So, but a way to look at this is 1% is based on this average order value. If that number went up, do I need that average order value to be that high? I don't. It could start going down, right? That's when you think about efficiencies of offers. So what is your offer actually doing? If it only converts 1%, it has to have a larger payout because it'll get less conversions. If I increase my conversions, I don't have to have as high as a payout. In fact, I'd argue you could sustain a campaign longer. So it really changes what you're doing. A good way to think about top offers is understand what the benchmarks are for your vertical. Because I'm mentioning supplements, right? What happens if that's a digital health? All of it changes.
Yep.
Like everything I said isn't true. So the idea is, one, understand the benchmarks to what you're in, what vertical you're in, and then understand your offer.
Do you think
within that?
When you talk about benchmarks changing, do you think the earning per click benchmark changes? Because I think
That's actually one of the most consistent ones.
yeah, because you're large part, like especially health digital versus health supplements or whatever, it seems like you're still competing for the same affiliate. And so then they're looking at, well, what are my earnings on this and can I earn it? I think that's what we've seen recently, right? We're recording this in September 2024. We've seen more affiliates picking up digital offers again. And for a long time, like last 3 years, I felt like I couldn't get a media buyer to look at a digital offer.
Wouldn't touch it.
Yeah. And they're like, nope, doesn't pay enough. It's like, well, have you tested it? Nope, doesn't pay enough. It's like, well, sure, it's not going to pay enough because its max AOV is like $90 compared to $300. But if it converts at 3 times the amount, you're going to make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Nope, doesn't pay enough.
Yeah.
But now they're getting more flexible and willing to test these things again.
Yeah. And I like to bring up EPC because that is probably the most static of the number. It's always hard on benchmarking EPC though, because it's one of the most variable based on traffic source.
100%. Yeah.
Which, but again, like that is much more stable of the numbers.
I love it when I see the kind of the OG marketers who use like the email affiliates and they talk about EPCs in a way that turns off media buyers, right? Like, oh yeah, we're getting $4, $5 EPCs, which they're probably, cherry picking that data even then.
Yep.
But they say that and then the media buyer affiliates are like, that's BS.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah, there's no way. And they kind of get on their back heels a little bit versus looking at what the actual EPC is on, say, colder traffic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things to understand. That's where I go next is know the benchmarks, know why they work, right? And that it's a benchmark of aggregated data. That doesn't mean that it is the key to success, but it gives you a really good idea.
Yeah.
But if you know how those things behave, then you know your offer. So let's use this example. And this is actually something that we talk about, the digital shift. That has been challenging. I will fully admit it's been challenging. I've been leaning towards it for a while, but the way I started to get some affiliates to change their mind was exactly the idea of like, all right, here's where your benchmark is. Here's where the offer is. Where is it different? And where can we pull levers to actually make it more attractive? So if I'm like looking at this and let's supplement, I'm a digital health offer, like you said, my AOV is $90. Good luck. How am I ever going to, you're not going to get that to even be 150, maybe 200.
The type of affiliate you attract with that AOV is going to be a lot different than someone who can scale to 100 plus sales a day.
Yeah,
right? You're going to be going after different types of influencers, content marketers.
But I don't think you necessarily need to. I tell you, I don't think you necessarily need to. It's just knowing that you're not going to get there. So AOV should not be your focus, right? And that also means your average payout probably is not going to be your big focus, but your conversion number is totally something that you could focus on. So I'll use that example you said before. Hey, the benchmark's 1, triple that, right? And so if I could triple that, and that feels realistic to me, that's my focus. And now it just comes down to conversation with affiliate recruitment. But that's when I think when people are looking and studying the numbers of top offers, it's more about you relative to a benchmark than like this is the edict of the only way that you could succeed.
Yeah, no, I think it's that gut check for me.
Yeah.
Like when I'm going through someone's offer, like, hey, is this going to work on ClickBank or work for affiliates, whatever it might be? So we'll start diving into this data, right? What's your conversion rate? What kind of traffic was that tested on? And if I'm hearing numbers that are like, I don't know, let's say it's a digital offer below $100 ticket kind of thing. If I'm hearing dollars that this can, oh yeah, I'm testing this. It's a new offer. It's converting at like 1.2%. And I can pay a 60% to affiliates. It's like, okay, it's like you're not out of the ballpark, but you're not hitting home runs with this.
Yeah.
It's like you need to
you're
get
probably
that,
the minor leagues at this
yeah,
point.
you need to be increasing that conversion rate to where it's closer to 2%. And that 60% on $100, say it's $100, is probably going to be good enough to get some decent scale. And then, but if you could also get some more margin to pay more or increase that AOV a little bit while getting conversions a little bit higher, now you're cooking with oil, cooking with gas. I don't know what the metaphor is. Cooking with some sort of flammable thing that
you're not
is
cooking
hot.
with Thomas.
Yeah.
That's these gasoline and explosions going on. But yeah, I think you're cooking with, we'll say cooking with fire. We're just cooking with fire, combustible substances. But you're totally right. That will go, because that's the other thing. Benchmarks are like the entry point. Okay, cool. We could talk.
Yeah.
But it does not mean that you're going to get a scaled offer. It's just within the realm that you could get to a top offer. Which I think that makes a lot of sense in the number side of it. And that's where it's good to know these benchmarks. And I think when people say, well, how do we know all the benchmarks?
Before, it sounds like you might be moving on. And before we do, I just want to call out, like, we're talking top offers. And when we say that, we're often at like a top 10 list or something.
Yeah.
Top 10 out of thousands of offers.
Yeah.
So you can still have a really good business with really good scale, really good with air quotes, and it's all relative to what good is for you and good is to everyone else. That doesn't hit these different benchmarks or is short of that. But if you're looking at, well, how do I get, a 9-figure, multiple 8-figure offer? This is what we're kind of talking about.
Yeah.
So you could still have a 7-figure business, even a low 8-figure business with subprime numbers. Right. It just might take a lot more manual effort into some of the things we're probably going to be moving into.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great thing to bring up. I really love that because we're talking about a very unique like subsegment, right?
Yeah.
These are top offers, the top producers on our platform. So it's a very specific type. But that doesn't mean that that's the only way to succeed in selling things online. So with that, but it was kind of transition where we think we have the numbers. We kind of talked about how a lot of these numbers, it's more of a valuation and a gut check to where you need to go versus where you need to be. Also, it does help you understand, can I play in those realms of top offers? The other piece, though, is where people might say, okay, well, how do I know this data? How can I find this information out? Great question. Listen to this podcast. We actually talk about these numbers quite often in various verticals. It really comes down to talking to an expert, being able to get on the phone with somebody. I would say you could always email affiliated@clickbank.com if you're looking for more of that information, but it's so fluid and it's not something that necessarily we report out on because it changes and it moves. And so we don't want to report on something that isn't real
Well, I do
at
know
the
when
time that it comes out.
By the time this episode drops, we'll probably have a marketplace update. And that marketplace update is going to be featuring some things like conversion rate data and EPC numbers and things like that. Now, I always have to say grains of salt with all those things, right? Because whenever you're looking at a platform, regardless of if it's ClickBank or something else, and they're showing that kind of data, you just need to know that you don't necessarily know what they might be filtering in or out. So if it's, say, all traffic, and you're looking at an offer, and it's like, oh, well, their conversion rate's only 0.8%, and it's a top offer. Well, they might be getting a ton of native traffic to it or something like that. Native traffic converts at a much lower rate.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a lot more clicks hitting the page, a lot more bounces, a lot worse conversion rate, it looks like. But for native, it might be great. But if you look at this and you're hearing us say 1.5%, 2% is good, and someone's scaling with half of that, there's probably a reason for that, right?
Yep.
And so that's where it's like, you can't just look at that and think, oh, well, that's my metric now.
Yeah.
Or the EPC is this for that offer, so that means this must be the right one. It's just, there's going to be spectra, or guys, either side of the bell curve is going to be happening there.
Yeah. And I think that's where data is great relative to other data because you need some sort of benchmark for it to make sure that it makes sense. You're totally right. Like maybe they just have like someone that's running third-party display ads, which generate a ton of clicks and very, very low conversion rates. So, the things like that could muddy your numbers and just doesn't give you a clear
I think when we
view.
pull data internally here, we often filter to like, we only want to see the platinum traffic hitting this offer. That way we don't have someone that did exactly that example. And bought a bunch of clicks and didn't know what they're doing and sent a bunch of clicks and it muddies the data. So like, no, we want to see what the platinum affiliates are sending to this offer. Yeah.
And even what we're referencing when we said this data, it's actually really primarily predicated on like meta traffic.
Yeah.
Meta and YouTube traffic. So like that's kind of where those numbers are. That could shift when you go to email. That could shift when you go to all these different traffic sources. So that being said, we've not answered any of the questions that we asked ourselves in terms of how you know this. But I think the best thing is
set the stage.
I'd say email us. We could try and give you, like, specifically, I want to know for this one. Now, if you email us, hey, I want to know for every single vertical, all the benchmark data that allows it to be a top offer. We're not going to do that. But if you want to know for one,
maybe we'll sell it.
Yeah, maybe we'll sell that.
Sign up for our newsletter.
Yeah, exactly. But always reach out and ask. And I think that's really the best way. I wish there was a better way. Listen to our content. We talk about it. So, and then take notes and understand. So with that, though, let's move on to the next part, which is we understand the numbers. Numbers move. We kind of get the whole thing. We talk about that. But I think the more important thing is the business and the back end really start to shift and change. And that's what matters more in going from top offer to top client. And that's where we see that the offers that are in the top offer spot for years and years and years, that's a top client, right?
What's exciting for me too is when you chat with someone and they have the right numbers.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's tested on good enough traffic. Like, it's like, wow, this looks good. Why aren't you selling more right now?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Because that's when we start diving into this kind of stuff, right?
Yep,
It's like, okay,
exactly.
why isn't this offer performing better, even though the data says it should?
Yes, exactly. Because there's a lot more factors into just having good numbers to going out and making an offer really, really scale. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What's one of the first big ones when you think about this? Like, what is one of the biggest things that you're looking for in somebody that might have good numbers, but they need to be a good top offer kind of thing, top business?
I started asking them, like, well, what are you doing? Like what,
What are you doing?
Yeah, just in the sense of like, what? Like, if you're, in this context, they're probably asking, like, I'm not getting an affiliate traction. It's like, okay, well, what have you done? I listed in the ClickBank marketplace. Okay, well, what have you done? I listed in the ClickBank marketplace.
Yep.
And it's a cyclical thing, right? But the point that I'm trying to drive into them is like, okay, well, what are you doing to recruit affiliates? Like, what does your affiliate landing page look like? Is it clear what the offer actually is to an affiliate? Like, are you actually talking to an affiliate as they would want to be talked to? Or are you talking to them like a customer, right? Like an end customer you might do.
Yep.
All those kind of like, what is your actual affiliate funnel? I know we've done episodes about kind of affiliate funnel before, but what does that affiliate funnel look like? And how are you feeding into it other than just blasting it into a marketplace and hoping sales happen?
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, it's assuming your affiliate funnel looks good from like the affiliate resources and all those things look good. Are you going to events? Is your affiliate manager going to events? Are they following up with people? Like, what's, the kind of Amber Spears, what she talks about all the time, right? What's the actual work you're doing on a day-to-day to actually get people to send traffic to your offer?
Yeah. You're totally right. It's the field of dreams is a field of lies, damn it.
Kevin
Quack, quack.
Costner.
No, Darn you, Kevin Costner. Is it his brother here or is it Dennis Quaid that's the limo driver?
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. Okay, sorry. Weird.
No, neither. Wasn't it?
Rod Stewart's brother.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, sorry.
No,
Weird.
he dresses up as Rod Stewart. This is getting
Very
weird.
confusing.
Boise
We're way
lore.
off.
Yeah.
Weird Boise subculture about.
We have to talk about it now. There's a guy in Boise who drives a limo.
He's a
dressed up
limo
like Rod Stewart, and I think
he's related to a celebrity, but
it's
I can't remember
it's the guy that was
Is it Kevin Spacey?
Yes,
Kevin Spacey. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, a celebrity we shouldn't mention anymore. Let's redact this whole episode. Oh, no. We've mentioned him. Let's move on just very quickly from that. I don't remember what we were talking about.
I blacked out.
So I know, I was going to say, I actually really agree with you. The idea that it's a field of lies, right?
Yeah.
So you can't build and expect them to come. We circled back. I got there. But I think that's really true. Like, oftentimes you're just going to have to find some way to work, whether it's going out to an event, going into a Facebook group. I've even had before, if you have some traffic, if you have ability to test, go promote some offers and then reach out after you've sent a promotion. Yeah. Hey, I've promoted this. It went successful. I bet my offer would do really well to you as well. Yeah. There's lots of different ways.
What is cool is like when someone actually has the stats, that means they have traffic. Yeah. They're either doing it themselves. It's maybe a brand that's more established, or it's someone that's running their own traffic. You're in a prime spot if you're that person. Like, hey, I'm getting customers. They're break even or better. My LTV is good. I know the stats. Do you think this is good? Mainly what I want to say at that point is like, show me your ads. Let's make sure this isn't like a retargeted, super warm campaign. Yep. If it's cold enough, it's like, great. You're probably pretty dialed in for affiliates. Now it's just building those affiliate resources we're just talking about, getting that dialed in and figuring out your affiliate recruitment strategy. Yeah. And then executing it.
Exactly. Yeah. But what a fun place to be. So I think that's one, sometimes you might have the numbers, but you don't have the plan, which one of the best ways to do it, again, episodes we mentioned too, working with somebody like us is really, really beneficial.
Our boy Dylan upstairs, that's Dylan. Our boy Daniel upstairs. There's too many D names on the marketing team. Daniel Thrasher, he made a great guide. That's a kind of a whole affiliate program guide. It's a very beautiful PDF. We'll have a link in the description below.
Somewhere in the video.
So if you're curious, like, hey, how do I make an affiliate program? You're listening to this. Obviously, you can reach out to affiliated@clickbank.com. Love to chat with you if you're that person. Or check out that awesome PDF that Daniel put together. And it actually is lays out kind of the whole structure of what an affiliate program can look like.
Beautiful. In fact, I'm going to do this. Don't reach out to us until you've gone to Daniel's article. 'Cause
Yeah.
we want to know that you're actually going to be invested, right? Invest, damn it. So, no, I like that. That's amazing stuff. So let's go to the other side. So let's, because I think one of the big pieces, that's like you have the numbers, you get the affiliate strategy, you get the recruitment, and then you get a swell of traffic. You are rocketing up, and you think you've made it. This is the best. But Thomas, have we ever seen an offer rocket up our leaderboards, look like it's going to be the best thing ever, and then come Tuesday of the following week, it's disappeared and doesn't exist
Yeah, it could
anywhere?
be Tuesday, it could be next Tuesday, it could be a fortnight away, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah. But it seems
it's a
it
flash
feels like
in the
it's
pan versus something that actually performs well for a long period of time.
Now, I know there's a lot of whys to how that could happen, but let's
Yeah.
focus on some more specific trends that we've seen that tend to be similar to what we talked about. How do you go from top offer for a long time to just being a flash in the pan?
Yeah.
So what are some of the big things that you see in that time, in that space, that might be causing these offers to have short lives, like gnats?
I'd say marketers are terrible operators.
Hot take,
In a
people.
lot of cases, right? Like it can be a lot of things. Customer service blows up, right? You get inundated. You don't even have customer service planned for because something that starts scaling,
So many times we've seen
right?
that. Yeah.
Refund spike, chargeback spike, ClickBank gets mad at you. It's like all these things are going out the window because you can't even handle fulfillment goes sideways because you weren't ready. Your manufacturing wasn't ready, whatever it might be, if it's physical versus digital. Or gosh, marketers aren't good operators, and they also aren't very good at product delivery in a lot of cases.
Yep.
They build a great sales page and sales funnel, and then you download the thing, and it's possible to download on mobile. It doesn't make any sense. People don't know where to get it, and refunds and chargeback spike there, which is a customer service issue, but it's more of a product issue that's leading to a customer service issue.
Yep.
So you band-aid the fix with customer service, but the issue's still there. So all these things start to happen with quality control that could have been mitigated from the get-go, but you're just focusing on sales, and then this whole operational mess starts happening with product quality, customer service, and just bleh.
Well, and one of the things I think people think about is like you hear quality, it's like, well, you know, I have time to fix it, blah, blah. And if you're on RevShare or on CPA and you get a large spike in your refunds or chargebacks, you could go from even break even to completely unprofitable.
Yeah, if you're paying 80+% to the affiliate, you don't have a lot of margin to ride if a lot of refunds are coming in.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The other thing too is say that's a CPA, right?
Yeah.
What if it's on RevShare? Now that campaign, we know that Facebook, like CPMs are expensive, and every paid media buyer I know out there is running a very slim margin. So the percentage of this is successful in making me money and losing me money is not that big. So a pretty big swing in either of those numbers, all of a sudden those campaigns that were building all that scale don't work anymore. And the affiliates maybe don't have a relationship with you, so they just move on to another offer. So great traffic, no traffic. And now a swell of refunds and things that are cascading underneath you. And what felt like a great moment of success turns into a nightmare of just horrors that you have to kind of sift through and deal with, right? So that being said, I think there's some big triggers and big things we see people miss on, and operations is definitely, that's a big category. So let's try and break it down to maybe some clean, simple operational things people could focus on. I think you hit on one of the big ones, which is product delivery.
Yeah.
And whether that's through fulfillment and making sure you have enough supplies and then you stop selling when you don't have those supplies. Always
Which is why, like,
that.
if you're new and you want to make, like, I want to launch a supplement, that's why we suggest people go to someone like Ship Offers.
Definitely.
Right? You can go white label to start with them. Then if you want to go to private or custom manufacturing, you can do that later, but get the tested. They have product, they have it in stock. You don't have to worry about figuring out all the manufacturing pieces of it from the get-go. But yeah, make sure you actually have stocks of something scales. And that's something that we ask on our qualification calls on the sales team, right? It's like, hey, if you sold 1,000 units tomorrow, like, is this going to blow up your business, like in a bad way?
Yeah.
Like,
How
can you actually
fast?
handle that?
What's your lead time to recover how much you have?
Yeah.
And if it takes us 8 weeks, we're like, well, you might have a problem, right? Depending on the situation. But I think that's a big one is just make first your product delivery, whether it's fulfillment with physical products and
digital,
getting print on demand. If it's digital, I would tell you take who you think is the least technologically savvy person in your life.
Yeah.
Any of them. Someone that might see a cell phone and think, whoa, that's getting a little crazy here, right? So anyone that is in that category, have them access and try and utilize your digital product. Just say, like, here's the instructions, go figure it out, right? And if every time they get frustrated, can't figure it out, figure out why and solve it for them until that lowest technical person, the person that you might wonder how they tie their shoes every single morning, that is the person that you want to be able to access your product with ease. If you can get to that level, you're in a much better spot. But the amount of people that just don't think about product delivery, what it looks like to the customer, how easy they could get it, how easy it's going to be readable to them, usable, it's a massive problem.
It solves so many problems that happen. We see it constantly. It's one of my biggest frustrations with the space. It's just like how little people look at the actual customer experience, even just customer journey, post-purchase, which is a whole marketing thing that we don't need to get into. But just, that actual product delivery and experience and the UI of like even the sales funnel, but even just getting to the product, if you fix that, actually have that, if you don't even like break it in the first place, if it's just good to start, you resolve so many fires that we see pop up for so many marketers who want to be an entrepreneur. And you can actually scale a customer service team a lot easier now because you're not just trying to have a little pail to put on this dumpster fire.
Because now you're like, oh man, there's so many people reaching out because they can't get the product. And we'll just have them send out links. And now I'm trying to hire up, you're grabbing your neighbor down the way to respond to emails. I'll pay you $5, It's not a good situation, so it could get real rough when you're in those scenarios. But I would also tell you that the most consistent top performers all do a fantastic job at delivering products to the customers. And so those sustain for a much longer time. So,
or they brute force the customer service side of things long enough to be That's
the other thing I'd say. The other side of this, so product delivery will make your life a lot easier. Customer support will save your business if you run it properly. It'll also, be the first sign that you're really struggling in your business. It tends to come through that customer support area we've seen. So a couple of things here. We're not going to have a big customer service podcast. That might be for a different time. But just as a quick aside, what's something that you would strongly recommend to people if they're hitting that top offer for the first time or just making sure they're prepared to handle scale?
If you don't have a customer service team and if you're the one doing it now, at least have some operations in place that someone could plug into quickly. So do have an SOP, even if it's basic, that, okay, this is my standard operating procedure. When the ticket comes in, this is how I handle it. This is how I respond to it. This is the time frame I'm responding to it in. That way, when scale starts happening, you can bring a junior person into that, or a customer service third-party company can come in and start leveraging your SOPs a lot faster.
That's such a beautiful way to do it. Just build SOPs early, even when it's just you. And seamless scaling. You want to create as fast that you could almost just fill in seats and you'll get more customer support. I'll put one other thing. If you cannot get at least to a minimum of a 24-hour response time at scale, you're going to run into problems every single time. Like that has to be a benchmark. It's a minimum. You should be doing earlier than that.
But you just mean like customer reaches out to you for whatever it is, and it takes longer than a day.
You're just going to be in a tough spot.
Even a day feels long, but that's at least that's kind of like the extreme.
We're also not saying an automated response. It doesn't need to give you an automated response. Every person in the world knows that's no one. It's a real representative making contact in some way. So you got to shoot for that 24. I'm not saying when you're small, don't worry about that. But at scale, it is going to create so many problems for you if you don't. So now with that, we have operations. We have operations. We talked about customer support. We talked about product delivery. Can you think of another operational area where you just see businesses just fall apart? What's one that you could think of?
Marketing.
Okay,
right? Like so the marketing got you to where you're at, but then people. So what happens is scale starts happening, right? Scale's going up. Sweet, things are happening. Now you're focused on affiliate management so much that you're trying to just deal with the affiliate management piece of it. You're talking to affiliates, you're trying to get more affiliates, you're trying to just keep the scale happening. Things are going up and to the right. Let's keep them going up and to the right. And what you've done is you've stopped the split testing that was happening to get you to the point where you're at. You've stopped refreshing email swipes. You've stopped refreshing headlines. All that has started to stagnate because you didn't have the operations piece in to have that on autopilot happening regardless of what you're doing, right? So now the offer fatigues, quote unquote. And it's like and I think that's one of the bigger reasons why I think the customer service and product delivery thing is why offers don't last like over 3 months long. The ones that can last like a year, 9 months to a year, right? And then fatigue, it's probably because the marketing creatives aren't really getting adjusted and aren't getting tested, and they're just kind of focusing on more affiliates, because that is their way of getting fresh traffic.
Yeah. No, I think that's such a really, really fantastic. I actually remember very early on having a situation where I had a client even say like, hey, like, why would I optimize and start testing things now? It's working so well. Only 4 months later did that exact situation happen. And guess what they were doing? Man, I better try and find some new optimizations for this. And now you're doing it with traffic being reduced. And it could reduce incredibly fast too, right? Especially if you do media buying affiliates. We just mentioned those percentages are small, and it's a lot or nothing kind of category. It's not a little trick, I'll just reduce my traffic. No, most people are just going to go all or nothing. So you lose a lot very fast. Now you're optimizing on less efficient traffic, slower, so it takes longer. Could not agree with that more. And we know one of the biggest differentiators between businesses that succeed and succeed long-term is testing. And those that don't test don't win nearly as often.
I think the other thing too is like entrepreneurs, especially the type we're talking about, they'll do what worked last time really well. So it's like, okay, I got this offer working, it's scaling, this is going great. It stopped working. I'll just launch a new offer. Right. And they go build a whole new offer or 3 until one works, and hey, it's working again. Right. And their whole business model becomes launching new offers, which isn't a bad business model, but you just like let all these resources and these assets that you made for this last one just kind of wither and die on the vine. And it's like, no, if you can actually figure out how to build a team that can maintain an offer or to get that established and going and scaling, you can have 3 offers running, right? Or you can have one going with a bunch of back-end sales, right? You can get a lot more stability in if you can figure that component out of your business versus just, I'm gonna launch new offers constantly.
Totally. And you could always ask yourself what you want, right? At the end of the day, if you just want that, you're the best product launcher ever. Awesome. Keep doing that, right? Maybe you suck at optimization, you can only launch. Perfect. But just be aware that's a part of your business. And I would say you'll never, probably very unlikely to have a top offer sustained for, over a year. Which I'll tell you what, that's very exciting when you could do that. You could be
how long has Java Burn been the top offer? Right?
Quite a while.
4 years.
I mean, thinking like, we look at your Emily Larks and
Alex Miller.
It's years and years and years and years. And very stable performance, right? With lots of optimization. So no, I like that. I think those are some big things. So just to kind of recap, guys, here, as we talked about before, with numbers, where they're important, you want to know your benchmarks. It's really more understanding your relationship to those, right? What it means to your offer and where you're going. And you make a lot of decisions depending on where you're at, and what you can do. Sometimes it might be, I just don't have a top offer. That's okay. Maximize where you are, not where you wish to be sometimes, right? I think the second piece is if you have all the things in place, one, have an affiliate recruitment strategy. Know how to get affiliates. Good numbers for yourself are not good if you don't have an affiliate strategy when you're trying to get affiliates, right? And then operationally, just do your stuff, right? You got to do your stuff. That's the biggest thing I tell you. You just got to get it done. So
but honestly, the unsexy part of business, like the longer I've been in this space, the more I appreciate it. Right. Because that's where the less stress comes from. That's where more better stability comes from and bigger scale ultimately comes from. You look at the biggest scaled offers we have on the platform, they come from teams of people, not just solopreneurs of people trying to stand up things. And we've seen even top ones, something goes wrong in their operations, and that's where things fall apart. Right? It's not the headline stopped working. It's like, no, the CEO is out for a month and forgot to place a purchase order for new inventory, and now things are on fire. Right? It's things like that.
And it's one of those things, again, like I said, it's the unsexy parts of business. But they're the most important parts of business, So, in fact, I don't know if there's any sexy parts of anything that are ever the most important of anything, if I'm being honest, except for maybe like celebrities. I feel like that's probably an important category, sometimes superseding over others. But it's a limited segment of life, right? So, but yeah, just operationally, like deliver the product, provide a great customer experience, and don't forget to do what got you there in the first place, right? Like test and optimize. If you could do those 3 things while having the numbers, we will definitely be seeing you at Platinum Summits, Diamond Summits. You'll be friends of ClickBank, and you'll be one of the top offers that everyone's wondering, how do they do it? Well, it's hard, but it's not a secret, right? The work is out there. It's well known. It's just not everybody could do it. But somebody listening today can and will, and email us at affiliated@clickbank.com if you feel like you're one of them. We want to maybe not talk to you. I don't know. It depends on where your number's at, or maybe you're crazy. I'm not sure. None of our listeners are crazy. That's not true. But even if you're crazy and you feel like you could be one of those people, please email us. Say, yes, this is my offer, and I'm going to be a top offer. I'd love to see it. Who knows? Maybe we'll even highlight one of the listeners that sends something that we think is actually pretty cool.
Free
That'd be a
advertising.
fun time.
I like it.
Exactly. So if you want that affiliate attention, email us with your offer. But with that, this is always fun. I enjoyed pillow time.
It's a little comfort pillow. That's nice.
Plus, we don't have, my liver doesn't get punished when we do these episodes. So that's good. That's good.
I thought the liver was in your back.
What?
Why is your liver? Oh, because we're not drinking.
Yes, that's why.
I thought because you're leaning it, you got cushion from the table. I was like, what?
Yeah, you're like, weird liver, dude.
Oh, you should get that checked out.
Just a doctor. No, this is really, really fun. Maybe next time we'll do pajamas. That'd be. Dylan, can you get some ClickBank pajamas for our
Affiliated onesies?
Oh my gosh, I was thinking like the 2-piece, like old, you know what I mean, like standard pajamas.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do a nightshirt and. Nightshirt. That might be
Yeah.
good. You could do some onesies. I'll go nightshirt with a nightcap.
With the nightcap. I like it.
Great.
Yeah.
Be great, especially with the winter.
I don't fit in a lot of onesies. I don't think they're made for taller people. Yeah. I think my legs are
Once
too long.
again,
Yeah.
my short stature comes in advantage if I want to dress like a
onesie
child.
without the feet part. Yeah, just
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so well, if anyone knows of some big and tall onesies for Thomas, please send them over. With that though, we really enjoy this. We're going to be doing this segment more often for you guys, just to give different subjects that don't need a guest, but hopefully you enjoy listening to us talk about. So please rate, review, subscribe, and obviously we give you lots of things to email us about. Do that. Until next time, what do we tell the people, Thomas?
Happy scaling on your way to a top offer. Hey.
There you go. See you with the top offer next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.